listeners to a brand new art piece along with a tale which will introduce a new character of mine into the storyline. He is a leafy dragon with a green hide. Is he a friendly creature or a foul hunter waiting to prey on something smaller? We'll just have to find out. Willow stepped across the stones, hopping one after the next, attempting not to slip from its algae-ridden surfaces into the very short river below her feet. The water was only a few inches tall and was clear. It ran with a magical trickling sound as the small brown and yellow fish followed its currents. The mountainside was peaceful and the birds were chirping. Willow had in hand a small flute, a tiny wooden carved flute that she had handcrafted long ago. It still played a sweet song with ease. As she found a small patch of moss and bright-colored ferns to sit by, she played a soft tune. The song was full of life, and the birds chirped even sweeter from the sound of it. She sat there playing her flute for a long while, until there became a loud rumbling off in the distance of the trees. Willow leaned forward to seek out what she'd just heard, and quite frankly, felt beneath her. Ahead of her was where the tremendous sound had emerged from. Just a few yards away, the trees ahead shook and bent in all ways, but there was nothing holding them back. It was a few moments until she heard a voice bellow from the near distance. "Little girl, play the flute once again. I was enjoying it. Now play it again." Willow was stunned. What was that request coming from? She was too curious to continue, so she stood up and got closer to the trees in front of her. Stepping back over the stream and the mossy rocks, she finally reached the opposite end again. She looked up and squinted her eyes. Still, nothing to be seen. But then, after a few minutes of watching, she spotted something. Camouflaged to the trees and the leaves was a creature resembling a large lion in stature and physical resemblance to a dragon. It was a large, long, thick, curly-horned creature. It had 2 sets of thick, curly, ram-like horns, and was made of feathery leaves matching its environment. Its mane was large and puffy and soft, and his wings shorter and full of large, thick feathers like the rest of him. The tail was gigantically long and stretched out of sight behind him. She gulped. This dragon was almost invisible. The dragon spoke again. "Lady, when someone asks you to continue playing the flute, by all means, that means play the flute." Willow scoffed. "Goodness! Not if you ask me with that attitude, I won't," Willow said. She gulped, realizing she just talked back to a dragon so fierce-looking. The beast stepped from the woods and shook the ground again. "Play the flute," he said again, grumpy. Willow was about to snap at him again for his manners until she saw him scratching his neck like a dog with fleas. "Play the flute, please!" he yelled. Willow realized what was happening, so she began to play the same tune once again. She played it until the beast covered her flute's end with its large, boulder-sized paw. "Stop now, miss. Thank you," he said now more politely. Willow looked confused, and he spoke again. "Those bugs think I'm a tree and will keep gnawing at my skin. My feathers itch so much. Playing that tune had a frequency which seemed to irritate the bugs. Now they've left me alone, for now. Thank you, young lady," he said. Willow looked up at him and nodded. "Of course, if I knew any earlier I was helping you, I wouldn't have assumed your rudeness so fast. What's your name?" she said. "Clarence. Clarence is the name I go by. And who are you who plays the flute so fine?" he asked. Willow replied, "I'm Willow. Nice to meet you, Clarence." The two smiled, and Clarence sat down, hard, shaking the ground next to her, and listened to her play the flute for the whole rest of the evening. The end.